This is Nathan Fantasy Football League Updates. We are so back. Nathan Fantasy Football League Updates. The Tucson Tie has done it again. Man, you can't make this stuff up. Welcome back to another episode. Week 9 is in the books. 5 weeks remain in the regular season, and everything has heated up. Everybody is within striking distance of the playoffs. Some teams have separated themselves. Others are on a downward spiral. Let's find out how this week went after a very spooky Halloween edition of our picks. Shaggy did pretty well. 4-1. Yeah, he nailed his predictions this week. And we'll start out with the first matchup. It was Lyndon the Crow and the Empire Strikes Back. This one, Lyndon the Crow, has been on a downward spiral since being and looking like one of the best teams in the league. They fall 146 to 129. The Empire, a lot of mistakes across the board. Travis Hunter was on the IR. You started him and left Puka Nacua on your IR with 22 fantasy points. Major mistake there. Jaden Daniels gets you 15. He is probably done for the year. Broken elbow. Michael Penix played pretty well with 22. There's Christian McCaffrey worth 34. So the mistake of starting Hunter and leaving Nacua on your bench, really no harm, no foul. Kyle Manungai, 22 fantasy points off your bench. Another big miss, but again, doesn't matter. Lyndon the Crow, Geno Smith played pretty well, 26 fantasy points. 19 for Genti, 23 for Devontae Adams. Boutte, unfortunately, with a big donut at 0. Chase Brown looking a little bit better, though, at 19. Big miss off the bench, Josh Jones with 15. But right now, Lyndon the Crow is just spiraling on a dead set bottom trend towards the last in the league. Next matchup, the Cancun Chameleons took on the Rocky River Rough Riders. This one was pretty competitive, but at the end of the day, you can't stop the top offense in the league. The Cancun Chameleons, 160 to 141. A massive win for the Cancun Chameleons, who now jump right into the 99 percentile of making the playoffs. They're about, at this point, almost just an entirely made lock. That offense is extremely good. They have 7 wins, first team to hit that mark. They might be going for the best record all time in the league. That's going to be impressive to watch. But really, Josh Allen, 28, 38 from Drake London. He quietly had one of the best games of the week. Pretty impressive stuff. Really, everybody was solid across the board outside of Ladd McConkey with 9 and Tucker Kraft, who's done with the year, 4 and a torn ACL. Big misses off the bench. RJ Harvey, 16. J-Mo with 16 himself. On the other side of things, the Rocky River Rough Riders, 27 for Jackson Dart. Jared Goff added 19, 17 from Bijan, 18 from Rashee Rice. But again, only 9 from Henry, 6 from Allen. Big miss off the bench. Romeo Dobbs nabbed you 16 and Juwan Jennings 14. And J.J. McCarthy on your IR slot, he had 18 as well. So some tough misses and another tough loss for the Rough Riders. They fall to 5-4 in that AFC division, which is uber duper competitive. We move on to matchup number 3. We have crowned another 200 club member. The Michigan Avengers, welcome back. The second team to reach the 200-point club, joining the Cancun Chameleons. They just wallop the Bangkok Ball and Boas 208 to 150. You should have seen the score heading into Monday night. Luckily, you just had CD, Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison, who made things a little bit closer, but a 50-point loss is still tough. The Avengers, 38 from Caleb Williams, 26 from Matt Stafford. Your number 1 overall pick, Jahmyr Gibbs, had 5, and you still dominated. 28 from Rico Dowdle, and welcome back Brock Bowers. Top scorer of the week, 43 points off injury. He was really good. Big miss off the bench, 22 for Dalton Kincaid, 18 for Bo Nix. On the other side of things, Lamar played pretty well in his returns, 25 points, 27 for Darnold, 15 for CD. Kenneth Gainwell was pretty disappointing with 7, only 12 from Travion Henderson. He did get 16 from McBride and 22 from Marvin Harrison Jr., though. Pretty good. No big misses off the bench. It was a rough day bench-wise for the Ball and Boas. But another massive win for the Michigan Avengers. Are they trending up? They are second in the NFC as the Ball and Boas fall to third in the AFC. We move on to one of our games of the week. We had 2 of them this week. The Brooklyn Bunnies took on the Zestmeisters. Domination from the Bunnies. Concerns for the Zestmeisters now. They're trying to make their first playoff appearance ever. They lose 147 to 109. It was a rough outing. Patrick Mahomes only nabbed you 10, only 14 from Daniel Jones. That quarterback room has really been carrying you. Didn't happen this week. Alvin Kamara, 0.7. Pretty bad day at the office. Your wide receiving core was fine. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 18, 14 from Nico Collins. Rome Odunze was horrible, 0. In a game that's finished 47-42, Rome Odunze didn't catch one single pass, and he is still looked at as the number 1 receiver there in Chicago. Major red flags there from that offense. And then 21 from Sam Laporta. Big miss off the bench, 13 from Wan'Dale Robinson. On the other side, the Bunnies, the offense showed up. 27 from Jay Herb, 16 from Warren and Jefferson, 33 from T. Higgins. Then pretty disappointing outputs from Debo with 9, Tyler Warren with 7, Jordan Love with 9, and the first dud from Jonathan Taylor. He only nabbed you 7. Big misses off the bench, 15 from QJ, Quentin Johnston, and Arande Gadsden, 11. 2 tough misses there on the bench, but the Bunnies still find a win. They have now won a couple in a row. They are 4-5 and knocking on the door about playoff conversation. Speaking of playoff conversation, our final matchup. Another game of the week. The Tucson Gila Monsters and the Guantanamo Bay Flying Squirrels. Let's just say this is a lucky Tucson tie. The tie comes in clutch again as the Gila Monsters win by 1 fantasy point, 135 to 134. So what happened? Well, first for the Gila Monsters, Trevor Lawrence in overtime got me 21. Joe Flacco was excellent in the shootout, 30 fantasy points. Josh Jacobs pretty good with 20. 17 from Jamar. How about Kamani Vidal, though, let me down with 3. And then Evan Ingram, a donut, nothing. Zip, zilch. Tight end purgatory is a nightmare. Tet McMillan, only 8. It was a rough outing. Big misses off the bench. DJ Moore with 22. On the other side of things, and even Juwan Johnson, my other tight end, found the end zone that's on my bench. Of course, welcome to tight end purgatory. Still the only team in the league without a touchdown from my tight end or over 10 points from my tight end. On the other side of things, Jacoby Brissett, you had both Monday night quarterbacks. We'll get to that in a minute. He had 24, though, for Brissett. 17 from Kyron, 22 from JSN, 11 from Khalil Shakir. Pretty rough output from DK with 2, and James Cook only 13. The difference maker in this one, Dak Prescott, 15 fantasy points. Well, it was 17. That's the winner. He chucked an interception with under 2 minutes that won the game for the Gila Monsters, who have now won 4 straight. 4 in a row. They are third in the NFC. They are no longer the last team in the league. That is now the Flying Squirrels, who follow the 3-6. Don't call it a comeback, but the reigning champs are surging towards the end of the season. Good things can happen. And I think it's only a matter of time till we figure that out. Let's figure it out, though, right now. Let's go to our Week 10 predictions after such an offensive juggernaut performance from so many players. We keep rolling. Teams are heating up. The league continues to be competitive. And this is the point where you make or break your playoff run. And because of that, we do have a trade to announce. Earlier this week, the Michigan Avengers and Cancun Chameleons got together. And the Cancun Chameleons, with Tucker Kraft out, made a move for a tight end. Dalton Kincaid is traded from the Michigan Avengers to the Cancun Chameleons in exchange for Rashid White, who Bucky Irving's set to come back, but now you've kind of chained yourself with Irving and White. That's a pretty good duo now to help yourself with that running back room. And then you go out and grab J-Mo, who finally had a pretty good productive game. Maybe Jamison Williams is on the uptick forward, especially for your squad, looking for a little bit more help in the receiving room. Pretty good deal on both sides. I do like it. You get tight end help on one side, and then you get some good roll options and some handcuff pieces if you're the Michigan Avengers. But that's not what we're here to talk about necessarily. We're here to talk about Week 10, a pivotal game before we go into that Final Four stretch. Some teams have won 4 straight. Other teams have lost 2 or 3 in a row. What will Week 10 provide? Let's find out, and we will start with the Gila Monsters and Linden the Crow. Now, Linden the Crow started out extremely well. The Gila Monsters started out extremely poor. They have flip-flopped. The Gila Monsters and the Tucson Tide, well, they've won 4 straight. The Linden the Crow, they have lost so many games, and they are just downhill slide. I have yet to pick Linden the Crow through 10 weeks. Is this the week I do it? Let's find out. For the Gila Monsters, welcome back Jalen Hurts. I think this is a monster Monday night performance from him against the Packers. Josh Jacobs also plays pretty well. I'm hoping that's a high-scoring game that involves both of them pretty heavily. The big thing that keeps Linden the Crow in this one, though, Jamar Chase, Joe Flacco, both will be out this week on their bye. So it's Chris Olave and my turning point player, Teteroa McMillan. The Ted offensive. We need him to be excellent on offense. I need a lot of fantasy points. Let's find out if either of them can come through. Expect Juwan Johnson or Dalton Schultz. Either of them could get the start for me this week. Hoping I can get above 10 fantasy points for the first time this season, 10 weeks in, or even a touchdown from one of them. Kamani Vidal and Kenneth Walker will be options, as well as Tyrone Tracy. That's going to be a game-time decision, but 3 committee for that running back 2, flex, and bench running back spot. We'll see what I do. On the other side, Linden the Crow, I think you get a massive game from Justin Fields, who gets a favorable matchup against the Cleveland Browns. Ashton Genty struggles a little bit against a tough Denver defense. Turning point player, Bam Knight. It's just a tough start with Chase Brown and Javonte Williams out. Don't know necessarily if I'm going to love him starting in this role. Amani DiMercado is also going to take some of those snaps. Not loving it. We get the familiar face of Troy Franklin. Last time he was started, he went off. Wouldn't be surprised if that happened again. And I think a big game from Devontae Adams and Mr. Kittle are due. So, in a 5-point spread, I'm going with the Gila Monsters. The Tucson Tie is alive and well. If you thought I was going to take Linden the Crow, no shot. I have picked against him in 10 straight games. Might as well keep it going. I've gotten 6 of them right, 3 of them wrong. And then for the Gila Monsters, 4-game win streak. The tie's on. We're rocking. Let's see that winning streak continue. We've got to avenge that week 1 loss. That's for sure. Let's move on. Why don't we? Matchup number 2, the Guantanamo Bay Flying Squirrels trying to keep playoff hopes alive. They take on the Zestmeisters, who are also trying to keep their first playoff hopes alive. 2 squads that are going to go back and forth for sure. This one's going to be a fun one. Flying Squirrels, they roll out Brock Purdy. Is this guy actually going to play this week? Because every week we're like, oh, Brock Purdy's in the lineup. He's probably going to play. He doesn't play. So is Brock Purdy going to play this week? We're going to find out, but I feel like I need to just say he probably won't play this week. Jacoby Brissett has been named the starter for the Cardinals. I think he has another good game. What a hidden gem that was on an off pickup last week because of quarterback injury to Brock Purdy. I think your running backs get back on track, 20-plus from Cooks, just around 20 for Kyron, and then Jackson Smith and Jigba. I mean, the number 2 or number 1 wide receiver in fantasy football, he goes above 20 again. Turning point player Garrett Wilson, is he going to be healthy? Is he not going to be healthy? That becomes the question I'm interested to see, and can he feast against a very bad Browns team? But they do really thrive with their defense, so we'll find out there. For the Zestmeisters, no Patty Mahomes this week. They start Dylan Gabriel. Don't love that start. Danny Dimes, though, gets above 20 again. He gets the Colts back on track. Running backs, I'm out on turning point player Nico Collins. Can this guy finally show up? This was a guy that people projected that could be the wide receiver one coming into the year. He has been very disappointing. Can he show up for this offense? Who does, though? Amon St. Brown and Devonta Smith. No Rome Odunze after a donut last week for the Bears. So in a 6-point spread, I am taking an upset. Give me the Guantanamo Bay Flying Squirrels to hang around in the playoff race. The Zestmeisters have dropped a couple now, and their playoff hopes are in jeopardy, falling to 5-5. Matchup number 3, it's the Bangkok Ball and Boas taking on the Rocky River Rough Riders. This one going to be another competitive offensive slugfest. The Rough Riders looking to be in the trade market, trying to get some things rolling. The Ball and Boas trying to right the ship that's kind of been up and down with injuries and shifting side to side. Well, they still have Lamar back and Sam Darnold, both go above 20. Both of your turning point players are your running backs, DeAndre Swift and Quinshon Judkins. Both of them were dealing with some injuries. Are they both back this week? That's favors into either your turning point players, but also off the injury. Can they play well if they both play? Marvin Harrison Jr., did he have a fluke game? That's something that's going to have to be proven this week. I don't quite know. Emeka Ibuka plays well, and Trey McBride has a monster game. Brian Thomas Jr. now slides to a flex option with Jacoby Myers at the trade deadline getting added. How much production does he now lose? You'd think it'd go up. Not quite sure. For the Rough Riders, Jackson Dart goes off. I think Jared Goff has a big game. Bijan Robinson goes back above 20. Turning point player, Juwan Jennings. I think he plays fine. Not too sure what I think about him yet in his performance, but I do still think he'll play serviceable. And then Cortland Sutton, he plays pretty well too. But in a 4-point spread, close game, both these teams need a win to get back 2 games over 500. I'm taking the Ball and Boas. I think they get back on track. A lot of skepticism with the wide receiving room for the Rough Riders. Because of that, I'm going with the Ball and Boas, who I feel a little bit more secure about offensively. Matchup number 4, Cancun Chameleons take on the surging Brooklyn Bunnies. Can the Bunnies keep their playoff streak alive? They desperately need a win, and no better way than to come against the best offense and best team in the league, who's already at 7 wins, practically a lock into the playoffs. Let's find out. We'll start with the Chameleons. I think there's going to be a lot of offense this week, some really good matchups for teams. So because of that, I feel like the top scorer of the week has to just be Josh Allen. I mean, gets a great matchup. I think he dominates in that matchup. I think he just rolls, you know? He doesn't look back against a Miami Dolphins defense that I don't think can contain him. Massive game for Josh Allen. Drake May, Devon Achane, I think both play well, even though the Dolphins will probably get blown out by the Bills. Turning point player right now, Woody Marks was listed there at running back 2. Whoever that running back 2 is, there's not a clear running back 2 due to some bye weeks for the Chameleons. I've got some question marks. I don't know what it's going to look like. So whoever's there, that's your turning point player. Drake London, though, monster game. A.J. Brown, not a good game off the bye. That's what I'm going to say on that. Lad McConkey gets back on track. And we'll see if it's Kincaid or Colston Loveland. Either way, whoever it is will play serviceable. And then for the Bunnies, turning point player will start right away, Jordan Love. He's got a massive matchup on Monday night against the Eagles. Can he show up? I'm saying no, but maybe he can prove me wrong. 20-plus point performance, though, for your other QB, Jay Herb. Jonathan Taylor bounces back from his first bad game of the season, and Saquon Barkley plays pretty well in prime time. Jay Jettis, Quentin Johnston both have great games for the Bunnies. So in a really good matchup this week, I've got a 2-point spread. I'm going upset fashion. Give me the Brooklyn Bunnies to stay on top and on fire in this league. They take down the Cancun Chameleons, who have won a plethora of games in a row. That would snap the Chameleons' massive winning streak that they're holding on to. Again, they don't really need it, but I'm taking the Bunnies. They keep their winning streak rolling. Chameleons lose theirs in an upset fashion win. Bunnies back to 500. Final matchup, game of the week. This one also a good one because it's going to decide the top of the NFC. It's the Empire Strikes Back taking on the Michigan Avengers. Michigan Avengers just joined the 200-point club with a massive offense performance. Can they get back on track with possibly Bucky Irving getting healthy? And then the Empire, well, they're getting more injured. No more Jaden Daniels. And then you do, though, get Puka Nacua back. How does that play into this? We'll start first for the Avengers. Bo Nix, Caleb Williams, I think they both go over 20. Both big games. Caleb Williams has started to figure it out offensively for the Bears under Ben Johnson. Running backs, awesome. Rico Dowdle has become the running back one in Carolina. He's going to get you above 20 plus. Jahmyr Gibbs gets back on track in prime time against the Washington Commanders. Turning point players, both the receivers, Flowers and Pittman. Still don't love the wide receiving room. I think that's the weak point that we can clearly identify with the Michigan Avengers due to injury, but don't feel strongly about that. Brock Bowers, massive game. He's figured it out. Las Vegas has figured throwing the football. Bucky Irving, not a great game in the return, but you just hope to see him return for future progress and playoff implications for sure to have that guy back in your lineup. And imagine that three-headed monster. Gibbs, Dowdle, and Irving. Nuts. And then for the Empire, well, it's got to be a turning point player, quarterback, Davis Mills. No CJ Stroud this week. That's your starting quarterback. Don't necessarily feel great about that, but I do feel good about Michael Penix Jr. He'll play pretty well. CMC will find a way to get 25 against the Rams defense because they just throw him the ball 10 times out of the backfield. Breece Hall has a angry running football game after not getting traded at the deadline. Puka Nacua, huge game from him. He's trying to make a push back to wide receiver one. Finally, good to see him in the lineup. And then Theo Johnson will make a start at tight end. Like that matchup, and I like him to go above double figures. So good pickup there from the Empire, who without Jake Ferguson and Travis Kelce, both of them on bye. So in the game of the week, in a 4-point spread, I'm taking the Michigan Avengers. They will take over the lead in the NFC with a win over the Empire. What a big game. The Avengers know how to win games. That's the second now winningest head coach in the league. The other one, Tucson Ty. I think they just find a way to win. So they get offensive output, especially towards playoff time. They get a monster win. And the Empire, are they surging down with two of the top players in CMC and Nacua? Do they need more support? Do they make a move at the deadline? That's going to be crucial to find out. So there you go. There are all my winners. The Gila Monsters, the Flying Squirrels, the Avengers, Ball and Boas, and Bunnies all get wins, a couple in upset fashion. Teams are starting to heat up. Will they sneak into the playoffs? Only time will tell, but those are my predictions for Week 10. It was a huge offensive performance in Week 9. Do we get it again in Week 10? Let's certainly find out. The Tucson Tie, has it run out of luck, or can it continue against my nemesis, Lyndon the Crow? We'll find out. Until then, good luck this week. And we are excited to get into the final stretch of the season. We wish you all good luck. And until next week, have a great week. Good luck. And we'll see you again real soon.